Hey Geometry, sorry that I can't be with you today, but here's our video. First video for our day 3 notes, law of sines and law of cosines. So make sure that you have your notes out and you're ready to get started on those notes. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is called the law of sines. And the formulas for law of sines look like this. It is sine of A over A equals sine of B over B, which equals sine of C over C. Notice that I'm using capital letters every time I use sine. That's because those letters represent angles. Okay, so that capital B is an angle as well as that capital C. And then all of these lowercase letters are sides. So lowercase a is a side, lowercase b, and lowercase c is a side. We talked about this a little bit in the end of the last unit, but we know that if we've got angle A right here, then side A is going to be across from it. So side A would be right here on the side BC. Okay, same thing with B. Across from B would be side B, and across from angle C would be a lowercase c representing side C. Okay, so we can only use the law of sines to solve a triangle if we're given the following information. So in the first picture here, you've got an angle, and then a side, and then an angle. So this is angle, side, angle. In the second one, you've got two angles and a side that's not in between them, so this will be angle, angle, side. And in the last one, we've got two sides and then an angle that's not in between it, so we would say SSA. So if you're given information in any of these formats, then you are going to use law of sines in order to solve for the missing pieces. And this works on any type of triangle. So this does not have to be a right triangle anymore. This can be any acute, obtuse. It could work. It does work as well on right triangles, but we're going to use it mostly for either acute or obtuse triangles. Okay, so let's look at an example. Example 1. And it does tell us round side lengths to 3 decimal places and angle measures to the nearest degree. Okay, so part A. So as we look at this one, we've got this angle C, which is 52, and we know the side across from it is side C. So those pieces kind of match together. We have the angle and the side that's C. They want us to find side A. And the good news is that we also have angle A across from it, and so that's going to match together in that formula that we started with. So don't necessarily write this down, but let me write the formula down again. Sine of A over A, sine of B over B, and sine of C over C. Now you're not going to use all of the pieces of that formula. You're just going to choose the 2 that are relevant for this problem. So obviously this problem has absolutely no information about sine of B or side B, so we're not going to use that piece of it. We are only going to use, and now you can write what I'm writing, sine of A over A equals sine of C over C. So this is how we're going to start it. That's our formula that we're going to plug into. So sine of angle A was 66 degrees, so I plug that in, over side A, that's what we're trying to find, so I'm just going to put a lowercase a down there on the bottom, equals sine of our angle C, that was 52 degrees, over our side C, that was the 25. So I set that up. Now, of course, I'm trying to solve for my side A right here, and so the way I'm going to solve is I'm going to start by cross multiplying. Okay, so I get 25 sine of 66 equals A times sine of 52. So to solve that for A, I would want to divide by the sine of 52. Cancels over on the right side, so now all I have left is A. And then I just want to put that into my calculator. And so I type into my calculator 25 sine of 66 divided by sine of 52. And I get 28, rounding to 3 decimal places, so 28.983 I did not have any units, so I'll just leave it like it is. And there is my final answer. Okay? All right. So part B asks you to find side B. That should be pretty similar to the one that we just did. And so I'm going to leave that one for you to practice. Remember, though, that you need to make sure that you have the angles and the sides that match together. So here we're looking for side B, which would be down here at the bottom. So side B matches with that 42 degrees, okay? Then we're given this side A, 12, but we don't have that angle, okay? I know you're smart, though, and you already know how to find angle A, right? The angles of a triangle add up to 180. So we do 180 minus 42 minus 75. That gives us 63 degrees. Okay, so we're going to pause this video, and I want you to go over and solve out part B, and then come back in just a minute, and I will show you the answer for it so that you can check your work. Okay, so the setup for this one would be sine of 63 over 12 equals sine of 42 over B. After you solve that out, you should get 9.012. Okay, so that's that answer. If you need to pause it and check with other people around you, you can. I'm sure somebody would be glad to work it out and show you how they did it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to part C. So part C, now they're asking us to find an angle. They want us to find angle C, and we've got the side that matches with it across, and we've also got the 32 and the 110 across from it that match together. So as I set up, this one's going to be sine of 110 over the 32. Notice how I'm picking these pieces that are across from each other and match together. Equals sine of that angle C divided by that side C, which is 19. Okay, I start this the same way. I cross multiply, and I get 19 sine of 110 equals 32 sine of C. My next step is to divide by 32. And so now I have 19 sine of 110 divided by 32 equals sine of C. So notice your variable C is not totally by itself yet, okay? But you all know how to get the C by itself, right? How do we get rid of that sine? We do the inverse sine, or sine to the negative first, on each side. And that's going to cancel with the sine that was there. So now we have the measure of angle C equals, and you're going to type all of this into your calculator, okay? You do want to be really careful as you type it into your calculator, because you want to make sure that you type it in correctly, closing parentheses as needed. So let me get set up so I can show you on my calculator how to type that in, make sure that we're all together here. Okay, so here we go, and now I don't have my work. Let me look back at my work again. It was 19 sine of 110 over 32, and was the inverse sine of all of that. Okay, so 19 sine 110 over 32. So I do second sine 19 sine of 110. Notice that I'm closing that parentheses around the 110. Divided by, I believe it was 32. Let's double check. Yes, it was. Okay, if you want to close out that last parentheses, you can. You don't necessarily have to, but it's a good habit. And when we hit enter, we get 33.9, blah, blah, blah. This is an angle measure, so we are rounding to the nearest degree. So that 9 causes the 3 to round up. So we would get 34 degrees. 34 degrees. Okay, 34 degrees. So that's the measure of angle C. If you would like to pause this video and go backwards to look at how I did the calculator part again, you can. I'll also write it out right here so that you can see it written out. So literally what we are writing or typing into our calculator is sign the negative first, open in a parentheses, 19 sine of 110, making sure that you close that parentheses after the 110, then you're divided by 32. You can close that last parentheses if you want to. So this is literally what is going into our calculator. Okay? Okay, so part D. Find angle B if A equals 33, C equals 13, and the measure of angle A equals 83 degrees. So we, of course, need to draw a triangle, label it A, B, and C. Since this is not a right triangle, it doesn't matter at all which ones you put where. Measure of angle A is 83 degrees, and side A across from it is 33. Side C is 13. They asked us, though, to find angle B. So as it stands right now, there is no way for us to just really quickly or immediately find angle B. However, I can find angle C because I've got the side across from it that matches, and then I also have A and side A across that matches. So what you want to do first is you want to set up your law of sines, and you want to solve for angle C first. I'll write that down here, solve for angle C. Then you're going to subtract from 180. In order to find angle B. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one for you as a practice, and so you can pause this video and give everybody a minute to practice it, and I'll come back and show you your final answer, and then you can turn over and look at law of cosines on the back side. So the setup, okay, so you can pause this video and then and work on it on your own. All right, so now that you've come back after doing this problem, you can see your setup up here at the top. Measure of angle C is what you find first, 23 degrees, and then after you do your subtraction, you should get 74 degrees for angle B, okay? All right, so that was just a really quick look at how to do law of sines. Feel free to pause this video, go back and rewind, and watch any of those problems again, or ask one of your classmates if you have any questions. So now I'm going to go to the back side where we've got law of cosines.